and we're super excited for our first session of the HJ Goes Live week. I hope you're all enjoying all of the live sessions we're offering you at the moment. And today we've got a great session with Ken Picton, the salon owner at Ken Picton Salon, and also the current Fellowship President. And he's going to be chatting to us about how he's coping as a salon owner during lockdown. And please do share your own personal questions that you might want to share with Ken, and I will put those forward to him for you. But I guess just to get started, Ken, I mean, how are you finding everything as a salon owner in these strange situation that we're currently in?
Well, morning, Laura. Nice to be with you. Yeah, it's a really interesting time. I mean, it was quite we kind of saw it coming. Wasn't quite sure how to the major impact, and it was quite ironic actually, because we've been in business for 30 years this year, and actually the week after the lockdown was effectively what we would have been celebrating our 30 years. So it was a bit surreal, because I went in on the Monday because I had to do an insurance check on the salon itself, and it was quite surreal being in a 6,500 square foot salon, completely empty.
You've got a big salon, haven't you?
Yeah, with no air vents, no movement. It's rare that I walk into the salon and it has that quiet, eerie sound. So it was a bit, it's been quite interesting. I mean, like I say, it was a huge, I mean, we're a big salon. I got 35 staff, so we closed down actually a day earlier than most people some went on the Saturday, some went on the Mondays. We went on the Friday because I just felt that we'd hit a point that week where, if we were a full team on that Saturday, with 35 staff in, and with the clients, we could have had 65, 75 people in there in one go. And for me, that was quite a worry. And I felt ignore the, because we've got a big salon, we can do social distancing, but ignore that. It was just the sheer mass gathering that we could have been doing every hour on that Saturday. So I made a decision to take my team out of the pressure pot that we were feeling building up that week. And then, as it turned out, everyone did the same thing and everyone followed, which I think was a relief for everybody. But it was nice. I mean, I did have some local salon owners messaging me saying thanks for doing that, because when we saw you do it, it gave us a bit of confidence that we should do it as well. And then obviously by the Monday, we then had it come from the president, prime minister as well. Exactly. So so there's been like that. I mean, it's interesting time as well, because obviously I know a lot of salon owners. I'm in a lot of groups with people have been questioning me. We were of a size that we didn't qualify for any of the grants. So I've not been able to tap into any of that. The only thing that we've had support with, obviously, is the furlough pay for my team, which is brilliant. I'm so pleased for that, because it's made them feel a little bit safer. And it's made them feel, that however long this takes, we'll all be able to get back to some form of normality at some point.
Definitely.
That was an interesting one. I mean, it was like I was in lots of groups. I mean, I know a salon owner who's got 4 salons. He's got less staff than me, and he had 4 grants. He had £100,000 paid into each one, because he had little salons dotted around. I think one, not quite 100, I think, but that. So he's having the support, which is again great for them, but it's a bit of a big hit for us, really. And I think that's the initial pressure. Luckily we're a good, strong business, so I'm hoping it won't have too much of a long-term effect on us as a business.
If there's anyone watching in a similar position to you, because obviously there are certain people that will fall through the cracks of the different options that are available, what sort of help and advice would you suggest? Because obviously you found yourself in that position where there wasn't a grant or anything available to you.
Well, I guess if people in my position, where they're in Wales, there's slightly different grants and things in place. In Wales, I did write to a couple of the our local MPs and stuff like that, just saying there was this void, whilst it protected the small business on the high street. There was other businesses that were more small to medium size, with a big employment, a lot of employees that were getting no form of grants, and so the fairness didn't seem to tap in.
No.
What happened in Wales, they did release a new grant form for people with employees over 9, what's called the Business Resilience Loan or scheme. However, it closed within the first, I think, 3 or 4 days because they were inundated with applications. So
Exactly,
again, no one knows whether that fund is being paid out, whether it's going to happen. I certainly have not received any. I did make a claim, but I certainly haven't received anything at this point. So for me, the only support I will have is to go down the loans. Obviously, there was the bounce back loan that have been announced today. That's launched today, which will be a little bit easier for people to get up to 50,000 as quickly as possible. So that's an option for us. Luckily for me, it was a kind of a sometimes timing it happens. We've always paid weekly, and we have done for years and years and years. And actually, we made a decision at the beginning of the year to move over to monthly pay. So luckily, my team had been building up to go in to monthly. So we had the final week of week 52, which was the end of March, and now and then it gave us a little bit of time to be able to get into the government schemes, the job retention schemes, to make our claim. So luckily, all my guys are being paid today, actually, or tomorrow. It'll go through the bank. So that's a great. Yeah, it was a great relief for me as a salon owner, because obviously you do feel the pressure. I mean, I've lost my income overnight. I get that.
Of course,
So I understand, I'm a family of 5. I don't think I've ever spent so much on food in the last month. It's incredible. 5 children, 3 times, 7 of us eating 3 times a day. It's like, God, I mean, literally we are having deliveries permanently because because they also, that was the other irony. So you're doing online shopping. And the problem is they were limiting your numbers. So you could only have 1 item or maybe 3 different things, so we're having to have constant delivery,
and not accounting for the fact you've got all these,
absolutely, there was no level for people, big families, so that was quite interesting. But like I say, my income stopped, but the fact that the team are being catered for, and credit to the HMRC. I mean, I put my claim in on that Monday, and it was in my bank by the Saturday, which is which is great to see. And I think it's nice. We're having to try and wrap our arms around our customers and our team to kind of say, we will be back there. So, and it's great that the government doing it and helping them. I think there's like we say, there's a need for businesses to be helped a little bit further, especially if they're high employ a lot of people, because there's a lot of jobs at stake, which I think is really, it is important.
Yeah, no, exactly. We're getting some questions coming through now as well, Ken. So Claire Davis has asked, what practical measures are you taking in terms of returning, such as putting rotas together, H&S?
Yeah, well, I think that's been a thing that we've been working on for the last two weeks, really. Whilst we are a big salon, we've got 30 odd stations. I know different salons will have different things in place. So whilst we could social distance quite well, we could easily fall into the thing of the mass gatherings and how many that would be. So, and I suspect,
because even just with your staff, that's 30 people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I suspect what will happen is they might limit how many people can be in a business or in whether it's hair or a restaurant or anything. So one of the things we're looking at, obviously I've got 35 staff to deal with, is to have basically either have teams. So we'll either have 3 or 4 teams. And the point of the teams are, for many reasons, but we can direct the hours between them all, divide them up. I mean, there's no guarantee at this minute we can guarantee any hours or full-time hours to any of our team. That could change. Whilst we are all saying, oh, it's going to be so busy and we're going to be inundated and all that, the reality is will we be able to? So one of the
Exactly.
reasons we're
Yeah.
having 3 teams is a possibility where, and instead of doing, I know some people are kind of talking about doing 4-hour shifts and doing them every day, and then they change a team and change a team. I'm kind of more gearing towards having 3 or 4 teams. And so, for instance, team 1 will do Monday and Tuesday, team 2 will do, and then that way, then I think it create a little bit more safety for my team. So, for instance, if someone suddenly has conditions and they're having conditions of the virus and stuff like that, only the team they work with will have to go into isolation. We can
That's
clean down the salon. We can do
idea.
that. So that's one of the reasons behind teams. Now, I did look at doing rotas where, say, opening 12 hours and do a 6-hour shift and a 6-hour shift. The only problem is there is a crossover, and there will be a crossover, I believe. So that's why I'm gearing towards opening 7 days a week, which we can accommodate. We're used to doing that. We open Sundays anyway, so, and splitting the shifts around accordingly. That's one of the ideas. But obviously, the key is in all of this is what the restrictions are given to us, because
of course,
if you look at Ireland, for instance, they've been announced, the hairdressers are in one of the last phase of people who can come back, and they're closed till July. So I don't think the tap is going to be turned next week. I genuinely, this week even. Not. I don't think so. And the truth is, I'm not going to rush either. If Thursday I'm told I can open, I won't be back till next week, because first and foremost I got a great big plant system. I've got to get my water system sterilized through, because that's just been sat there. We then obviously have to do a lot of maintenance from a cleanliness point of view of the salon. So, and then we'll have to really focus on our rota system and making sure that we can accommodate everybody and keep them safe. Then there is the issue with PPE and when it is safe. I've got a lot of people, I've got a lot of contact. So I guess but we're also conscious we don't want to take it away from the people who need it today.
Exactly. Before we go down the route of before we go down the route of PPE, because I think that once we get into that, we'll be on that for a little while. I'll just tap on a few of the other questions we've had. We've got a few here. So Paulina said, how are you keeping in touch with staff during this time? Have you been sharing your thoughts with your staff on how everyone will work in the future? So this plan with teams, have you been sharing that with your staff?
Yeah, well, yesterday, we have a WhatsApp group that we've been communicating. The irony of it is everyone is typing messages in it. I have to narrate them in. I have to do a voice message, because my messages are like 5 minutes long as I'm trying to share the relevant information and the mindset of why we're trying to do it. Yeah, that I did kind of make them aware. Literally after about 2-3 weeks, when they were, in that initial state, people were like, oh, can you imagine? We're going to be so busy. We're going to be run off our feet. We're going to be there. And I was like, I don't think it's going to be quite like that. And I don't think we're going to be able to act, to trade in any normal capacity. There's going to be a lot of moving around. So we've been staying in touch with on those elements of it. The slightly bigger things where I need their agreements, because we were changing bank details and stuff like that, because we were moving over to monthly, and at the same time we've gone to the company's accountants and paying it instead of our payroll department. So it's been a lot of that type of stuff. So I just give them a little message and say, look, I've sent you an email, can you just respond direct to that? But really, we've been communicating, and sadly, a few of my team have lost very close relatives in the last week or two. Yeah, which is which I think kicks it back it's in tough. Then, and I think that has really cemented the fact that actually we will all have to just come together when we come back, and and
do
that's
everything to keep everybody safe. That's the priority.
Yeah. And I think whilst we're desperate for businesses to come back, and because there are businesses, because sadly, like you say, the other thing that never happened is the insurance companies have all bailed out and said, and no one's covered from that point of view. So from that point of view, we want to come back. But you could argue the way Ireland are doing it, it might be better for us all, in the sense of if we stay off that little bit extra, we might be able to come back with an element of normality. And I think, that's the key. It's all about safety at the end of the day.
Definitely. And before we go down the route of PPE, because I can see all of your questions relating to PPE, so we will get onto that. But we've had a very good question as well. How have you been dealing with bookings? Are you cancelling them week by week?
Yeah. So in the initial stage for us, because if you imagine we do 500 clients a week. So in the initial stage, we obviously we effectively went on a complete lockdown immediately, took our online bookings down, everything, just because we were kind of, pushed that way. What I initially did for me, and everyone's done different things, and I completely get what everyone's doing. No one knows the right answer or the wrong answer. We've not been taking any verbal bookings, purely for the fact that what we did is after about 2-3 weeks, I think it was, we reopened our online booking system. And we set the date for, actually it was this week, but that was back 4 weeks ago, but we set it for this week. So we kind of put a month buffer with the proviso that there's no guarantee we're going to be back. But my clients then have control of their appointment. So when they book online, it's much easier for them to reschedule it, cancel it, book a different one as the fluid situation changes. So that was how we did it. So what I effectively did was I text directly to those first 2 weeks worth of clients to just say, just to let you know, we've opened the online booking and we just want to give you the heads up that it's being done. Yeah, because they all missed their appointment, and but that was at the early stages. Obviously, as the next week went on and the next week went on, we adjusted it. And obviously, when the announcement was made on the 16th of April for a further 3 weeks, I think that took us to the 7th this week. I automatically took it to next week, so the 12th. So all those clients were closed down. They were all then either email, text, or I text them, or I call people, and that's how I've done it. And what I've also been doing for clients, I've been sending products out to them. I've actually not been taking any payment for them. I've just been saying, they have them, we'll sort it out when you're back in the salon. It's just nice, so I literally do 1 week, a run every week into the salon where I do my security check for my insurance purposes, and then I just gather products and then get them. I've set up a system where Royal Mail just come and pick them up and take them. So nice and safe, and it's easily done, and it just helps some people. So so that's how we've been handling it. Obviously this week, we're obviously still close. So from next week onwards, people can book online, but we are putting a proviso in. Please stay in touch. We'll be in touch with you, and there's no guarantee, because we might have to change our schedule anyway. So we might have to rearrange a lot of people. So, we'll be ready for that. We'll be ready for that, and I guess that's the best way we can play it, really.
Fantastic. And then Nick Grodance has said, a quick point to vary staff working hours, as we were just talking about with the different teams. He's saying it's advisable to give them as much notice as possible to their change in working hours. So it might be worth checking out kind of like the NHBF to see what the rulings are, that, because he's saying 1 month is advised. So I think that's just worth checking out, because I think everyone is saying that's a great idea, but I guess it's then looking at the finer detail as to how much notice you have to give your teams and where that comes in terms of when salons go back, etc.
Yeah, well, I'd actually made all mine aware that there would be a change, and they won't be guaranteed the current days they have, that type of stuff. I made them clear about that around about 3 weeks ago. It was clear that that's how we were doing it. When it was announced and we were going to be closed down, I made a point of saying, look, you can see the way this is going, it'll have to be fluid. Now, I also put a proviso in there, and I know some of you might have childcare issues and things like that, and we'll just have to address that. But that doesn't mean I can give you that space. If you can't have the space, then there's not a lot I can do about that. So whilst we'll try and accommodate as much as we can, I think it's clear that we're all going to have to maybe make some sacrifices, I guess, and that's the position we're in, really, to save jobs and to save livelihoods, really.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're freezing a little bit for people, Ken. We can hear you absolutely fine, but maybe if you just kind of stay where you are, hopefully it won't freeze so much. Okay. We've got loads of questions though, Ken, so I'm going to try and whiz through them. So just to warn you. So JC Ocamp has said, have you changed how much time you spend now per client? Will you be aiming to, when you do eventually open, will you be looking at having longer appointments or shorter appointments, or are you adjusting the time frame at all? Have you thought about that yet?
Yeah, well, we take hourly appointments anyway. We give, hour and a half appointment slots for our colorists for big work like balayage and full head highlights and stuff like that. So we do give quite a good gap. I certainly will not be looking at reducing that. No, not at all. I think to act in a safe way, I certainly won't be trying to squeeze people in, I don't believe we probably will have to extend. The only thing we might have to consider is we'll have people with colour that with mid bands of extra root, which might mean having to adjust how we colour. One of the things that I did, think was a positive to be able to do as well was to be able to take payment from everybody the day before. So we ring all the clients, take payment over the phone, and that reduces that congestion at reception. Because that's our problem. Because we take appointments hourly, everyone will be coming in at the same time and leaving at the same time.
Of course, which will make it harder to do social distancing.
Yeah. So that was one of the things that I definitely thought was a positive. We could we could do that. I mean, I know I was asked the question, are you going to take payment online for all the things? And it's a very easy thing for us to do, but I made the decision right at the beginning. This was not about trying to get money or securing money. It was just about making it flexible for my customers and try and be there for the clients. And actually, so I've not taken it.
No, Kerry has also asked, will you be increasing prices because of the extra risks and PPE needed, and obviously extra colour that will need to be going into people's hair? Will you be considering increasing the prices of your services?
Not for me. It's not something that I'm considering at this minute. But I recognise some people might have to if their pricing structure currently is tight, and they're going to have to be using more, doing more. That is probably just something I'll try and absorb as a business. Obviously, we might have to react to that situation, and we might have to consider what position we're in based on the time frame. I mean, it all depends when we're back and what position we're in at that point. But I'm sure I would also consider, I'm sure the manufacturers might be able to help you out on certain things as well. I think, reach out to other people. We're all in it together. We're all hurting. So, if you're being put under pressure because of cost of goods, then see if you can have, negotiate them better.
Exactly. Courtney Darcy is asking, will mobile hairdressers go back at the same time as salons? When do you think we can all go back? I don't think any of us know the answer to that question, Courtney, so I don't think we can give you the answer to that.
No.
And I might just tap into this PPE. There's loads of questions about PPE, Ken, so I might just group them all together. I guess, let's just have a quick look at all of the questions we've had relating to PPE. So do you think we will all be wearing masks when we return? Do you think clients should be coming in wearing masks? Or is there no point because they'll have to take them off to do a cut? Someone has said they've bought plastic face shields, the old hairspray guards for clients to hold. And then we've got loads to do with PPE. I'm just going to have a look at some of the other ones we've had. Will you be adding costs for PPE, disinfectant equipment, etc.? Someone has said they've ordered PPE but have been charged VAT. They thought it was VAT free. Will you be giving people masks or saying to people they have to bring their own or then charge for a mask? Basically, PPE, Ken. What are your thoughts on PPE? I think there's just so many questions on it. Let's just do question. What are your thoughts on PPE?
I think it is a minefield, and there was a lot of room, a lot of scaremongering. Now you won't be able to open if you don't have this or that, and gowns and all. And where do you draw the line? I know different countries have set different guidelines, which is what I think sparked it. Germany, for instance, and so on. However, I've spoken to medical people. And when you look at being face masked, shielded, wearing specific gowns, wearing gloves. I'm being told not even medical. Some of the people in the hospitals are not dressing like that because they don't need to at this point. So it's such a flexible area. I think face masks will become pretty normal. I think the grey area will be who's responsible for supplying them. Will it be the businesses to allow the client to come in if the client has to wear one as well, or will it be the responsibility of every individual? I'm sure a lot of businesses will try and take that mantle. I know a lot of manufacturers, product companies, for instance, are trying to work on helping their customers, which are the salon owners, really. So I guess until we have that guidance, I think it's such a grey area. I think luckily for us as salons, we're very hygienic anyway. We're very good with washing hands. We're very good with the way we clean down sections. I use disposable towels and have them for quite some time, for various different reasons prior to this. So our practices are going to be down to I mean, a lot of us started it before we actually had the lockdown. I mean, we were doing it where, even our PDQ machines, we were wiping down it every time. We had special alcohol wipes to do all those kind of things. But now the difference is we're looking at putting screens up at the reception. There's quite a few of those around at the minute, and there's a lot of manufacturers there, and they're being quite quick and proactive on there. I've got contacts for everything, but I'm kind of erring on the caution until I know what is right for us to do. I kind of made a decision. I've made a decision. I'm not going to rush into reopening until it's safe for everybody. So if if it gets announced it's then and it's quick and it's like in this week, then the reality is I won't be rushing to do that until I've got everything in place. You've got to think of everyone's safety, including the customers.
Definitely.
But I think there will be an element of PPE for sure in our industry, and it's just how we manage it, really.
So just to summarize, you're not rushing out to grab hold of PPE. You're kind of going to wait and see what the rulings are and by that.
Yeah, I've got contact for every single section. I have a small amount of something, but I'm being conscious as well that at the minute we're not being advised to. At the minute, there is a need for it in more urgent places. I think that's obviously in the last week that's been resolved, I think, by the government, and I think that's a positive. The right people are getting it. So we're now in the process of being able to source it. I have contacts in all of the systems, so whether it's face masks, whether it's gowns, whether it's shields, whether it's disinfectant. I've kind of have everything ready to press the button when we need to, or when we know we're allowed to. I guess it's now. Really, I mean, it is something that'll be on my to-do this week, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. A few people have asked about uniforms, whether you'll be changing uniforms to be more disposable style uniforms, and whether you'll be allowing clients to have drinks in the salon, or advising them to bring their own drinks because of contamination, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think, again, they're really key questions. I know in Germany, for instance, I think the rules were put in place where all staff have to leave their clothes at the salon and it has to be washed at the salon. So if you don't have washing facilities, I don't know how that will work. But the reality is, but not even hospitals are doing that. So it's very difficult to know which one is right from that point of view. Drinks are a very interesting one. We have a big bar in our salon, and we tend to, so the grey area is that contamination of how you're serving it. One of the interesting ones that I saw, so someone put on, before the lockdown was, we'll make them drinks, but you have to bring your own cup in. Whether it's a disposable cup. There are obviously the elements of disposable, but then, what you could basically do is put practices in for your clients. Do you see what I mean? So, for instance, water, for instance, we'll happily serve, instead of serving it in a nice glass, we'll happily serve it into from a bottle that they keep and they take it with them. So we'll work on that one it's quite a quick one to deal with once what the parameters are. Sadly, I think we're still a few weeks away. I believe. I'm not saying I know anything more than anybody else, but I feel we are a good few weeks away before we come in. I mean, it was interesting. Ireland put hairdressers towards the end of the return. because of
So,
the idea. And
so
I think
exactly.
I think that's yeah. I think, you know what I mean. I'm glad they've recognised the fact that
Mm,
actually it is difficult for us to operate, you know, with social distancing and all that kind of
yeah,
stuff. You know, because we connect with the clients there and then, we touch them. You know, I mean, it's very difficult, and you know, so yeah.
definitely. Well, we're getting to the end of our session, Ken, but I think we're going to wrap. I might wrap up with this question because we haven't really touched on the fellowship, and obviously another part of your role is being fellowship
Yes.
president. And Kate Davison White, I hope I've said that right,
Mm.
has said, has the fellowship been liaising with the government to shape and guide what is going to be imposed in the near future? Have you been working on anything on that side of things?
Yeah, well, the fellowship is a creative organization, so it's
Yeah.
not a political organization. So
Mm,
we've been sharing, being guided by people like the NHBF and, you know, the relevant
mm,
parties that have direct
yeah.
connection with the government to try and get answers. I don't believe there's been many, which is, you know, the irony
Mm,
of it. I think from a fellowship point of view, we've been trying to connect with our members. Like last week, we had a fantastic little voiceover campaign that we launched where we had people, members, we had great, you know, people like Angela Seminara, great people, Errol Douglas, all created this little voiceover message just to say, but you know, we're all in this together and we'll come out of it together at the end. And I think, you know, that's what we've been focusing on with the fellowship, being
fantastic.
creative as an organization rather than political, because that's not our expertise.
No, exactly. Fantastic. And yeah, we've got a lot of positivity as well, Ken, going on. People saying they're doing staff Zoom meeting catch-ups every week to keep
Yeah.
everybody positive.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're
yeah.
doing lots
I
of that
mean,
as well, Ken.
yeah. I think the thing is, it's like you say, yeah. Our WhatsApp group has gone through. It goes like this, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. You
You can
know, it
sense
depends
the
what
mood
time
of
of night it
everybody.
is. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, if it's Friday and it's 8 p.m., then suddenly it goes one way, and then, you know, then
Yeah.
everyone wakes up, and then it's like. But you do. It's kind of interesting. It's been like it's almost like this hangover days. It's kind of I feel it with my children. You know, you have an active day, and then the next day you're all kind of like, you know, and it's kind of it's
Exactly.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. And as I was saying to you, I think Friday's now moved to Thursday, so the weekend
Definitely. The
starts on
days of the
Thursday
week are
at the
all a bit
minute.
weird, aren't they?
Totally confused. And my wife asked me, "What day is it today?" And it's like, yeah, she has to write all the
Monday again.
deliveries down.
Yeah. Well, just to
So
wrap up, Ken, because we're getting towards the end of the session, would you be able to just share with us what you will be doing this week, I guess? I mean, it might be useful for other salon owners that are tuning in to know what your focus is going to be over the coming week and how
yeah,
you're structuring your time.
yeah, well, my first port of call now, as of today, is I'm going to connect with all my clients that are booked in this week, just to
Mm.
reaffirm to them that we're not open. We have made the statements. I've got new pop-ups on our website to be able to update on a quickly basis, and that's the first thing. The plan is my staff are going to be paid, so I've got to sort all that
Yeah,
out.
of
All the
course.
team are going to be paid. Otherwise, they'll be chasing me. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an action plan in to look at the rotors. More. So I have 3 different options with rotors, so they're kind of there. I'm now going to start communicating with my team in readiness for some form of notification this week, which is we're being told we're going to
Mm.
get.
Yeah.
But it is, you know, I'm making it clear for our options. Like I say, I've got my contacts for all my PPA. I've checked
Yeah.
that they're legitimate. Make sure you do all that.
Mm.
There's a lot of scams going out there. Apparently, people have been caught, or they bought things that are not what they thought they were buying. So
No, of course. Yeah.
share with everybody on that kind of view. I know there are quite a few things coming out literally in the next 2 days. So kind of watch
Mm.
the hairdressing community of where there's good supplies of the right things that we're going to need.
Definitely.
Um, and I guess that's where we're at this minute.
Yeah.
You know, I've already planned the options, so it's a case of being able to adapt to them as quickly as possible, but as
Exactly.
safely as possible, which is the paramount in all of this, really. So,
And I think a really positive message, Ken, that you've put across this morning is that you are very much keen to do what's best for your salon, your team, and your clients. And if you don't necessarily agree that it's the right time to go back, you will hold fire and do what you
100,
think is best. And I think that's a really
Yeah.
great positive message for everybody. It doesn't need to be everyone jumping to the start line all at the same time if you don't feel like it's right for your personal situation.
Yeah, and I think that's why. So let's not panic over it. I don't think anyone
Yeah.
needs to panic. This is not
Mm.
this is not a moment in time where we kind of become enemies with our own industry. Of, oh, they come back quicker than
Yeah.
this, but do what's right
Yeah.
for you. That's the most
Yeah.
important. And it's not a time to criticize other people for whatever decisions
No.
they make, because
Yeah.
we all know things differently. I know what
Yeah.
financial state my business is in.
Mm.
I have no idea what anyone else is in. So, they might need to move quicker than me. I've got like a big ship. So nothing's done overnight with the way
No,
we
yeah,
work. So,
exactly. It's like
so
getting a
I
ship out
kind
of
of,
port. It's going to take a little while as
yes,
opposed to a little
yeah,
sailing boat that
absolutely.
goes straight out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I've resigned myself to that weeks ago, So I'm not getting too stressed out about that, but
Yeah,
it's got to be safe for everybody. And that's really important. Especially as the fact that some of my team have lost people, so safety is
definitely.
paramount for us
Yeah.
all, really.
Fantastic. I think that's a really positive message to end on, Ken. We've got I think this is a great way to end. Terry Wilson has said, loving Ken Picton for Prime Minister. There you go.
The next
Once your
role.
fellowship presidency ends, you can go for it for Prime Minister.
Perfect. Thank you, Terry.
Fantastic.
That would be interesting.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Ken. And I apologise if I haven't got through all of the questions. We've had so many. There's been a lot of love
Yes.
in the room, lots of great questions, and we've tried to tackle as much as we can. But thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much to Ken.
Thank you,
Speak
Laura.
to you soon. Thank you.
Take
Bye.
care. Stay safe, everybody.
You too.
Bye-bye.